Hey there, focus learners, and welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're hunting for the absolute complete care and growth guide for, honestly, one of the most stunning houseplants in existence, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're putting the spotlight entirely on the Manjula Pothos. We're gonna go on a bit of a journey together, right? A real survive to thrive roadmap that's gonna empower you to completely master this living, breathing piece of art. Let's get into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our 5-step roadmap for today. First, we'll meet the Manjula. Second, cover the essential care, so light and water. Third, we'll build the perfect environment. Fourth, we'll tackle troubleshooting and pests. And finally, number 5, propagation and display.
I absolutely love this quote from plant expert Anastasia Remeslo. She says, if you've ever looked at a beautifully variegated plant and thought, that looks like a painting, Manjula is probably what you were looking at. And honestly, she hit the nail on the head. When you look at a Manjula, you aren't just looking at leaves. Each wavy leaf is quite literally a unique watercolor canvas. You've got cream, crisp white, silver green, and deep green, all just swirling together. No two leaves are exactly alike. It's really an artistic masterpiece sitting right there in a pot.
All right, section 1, meet the Manjula. So because of its gorgeous, heavy variegation, all those beautiful white and cream sections, this plant actually has way less chlorophyll than your standard green pothos. And less chlorophyll, well, that means it requires much more demanding care. It's a bit of a diva. Let's look at its botanical background. The Manjula isn't just something you stumble across in the wild. It was actually developed and patented by the University of Florida back in 2010. It belongs to the Epipremnum aureum species. Now, a crucial point here, and people get this wrong all the time. Unlike varieties like the Cebu Blue, the Manjula will never develop fenestrations, meaning it won't get those mature splits and holes in its leaves, even if you let it climb. Oh, and a major warning for pet owners. It contains calcium oxalate crystals, so it is highly toxic to cats and dogs. You've got to keep this one well out of reach of furry friends. And this brilliantly illustrates how the Manjula really stands out from its often confusing cousins in the pothos family. While a marble queen is, well, marbled, and an enjoy has distinct patches, the Manjula features this incredible flowing, swirled pattern on wide, wavy, heart-shaped leaves. And take a look at that growth rate. Because of that low chlorophyll we just mentioned, its growth is exceptionally slow compared to the others. You definitely need some patience with this one. Moving on to section 2. Essential care, light, and water. Now, adjusting our normal plant care habits starts with a super delicate balance of light. Your Manjula desperately needs bright, indirect light. Why? Because those stunning white and cream parts of the leaf literally cannot photosynthesize. It relies entirely on the green parts to make its energy. But here's the catch. Direct afternoon sun will literally fry those delicate cream portions, leaving you with brown, crispy patches. Nobody wants that. On the flip side, too little light forces the plant into full-on survival mode. It starts reverting. That basically means new leaves will emerge mostly green just to compensate for the lack of energy. Watering is the next major hurdle. Overwatering is a massive danger here. If you start seeing yellow lower leaves, mushy stems, or yuck, smell something funky, you've got waterlogged roots. Underwatering, conversely, leads to droopy, papery leaves and crispy edges. So how do we avoid both? Just use the simple finger test. Let the top 1 to 2 inches of soil dry completely before you even think about watering again. Remember, the Manjula actually stores water in its thick stems, so it handles drought far better than it handles sitting in a swamp. All right, section 3, environment, soil, temperature, and humidity. If light and water are the foundation, the soil, temperature, and humidity are the framing. I want you to completely change how you think about soil. Don't think of it as a dense sponge. Think of it as a breathable ecosystem. If you use standard potting soil straight from the bag, it's going to compact, suffocate the roots, and cause rot. Instead, mix up this DIY aeroid recipe. It's 2 parts standard potting soil for your base nutrients, 1 part perlite, and 1 part orchid bark. Listen, I cannot stress this enough. The bark and perlite are absolutely mandatory. They create these vital air pockets right inside the soil that let the roots breathe and allow water to drain quickly. This airy mix is exactly what keeps your Manjula safe from suffocation. When it comes to the climate, you want temperatures sitting between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. A good rule of thumb, if you are comfortable, the plant is comfortable. Make sure to keep it away from cold drafts or AC vents because those delicate variegated sections are highly sensitive to stress. Now for humidity, 50 to 70% is the sweet spot to keep those creamy leaf edges from crisping up. But please, let's finally debunk the myth of misting your plants. Misting only boosts humidity for like a few minutes, and wet leaves just invite fungal diseases. It's a bad idea. Instead, set up a pebble tray or run a dedicated humidifier. Way more effective. Next up, Section 4, Troubleshooting and Pests. We really want to preemptively equip you for the inevitable hurdles of plant parenthood, right? That way you feel totally confident rather than discouraged when something goes slightly off. Let's do a rapid-fire run-through of the most common invaders, mealybugs. They look like little white cottony masses hiding in the leaf axils. Spider mites are sneaky. They leave tiny dots and fine webbing, especially when it's dry. Scale insects present as these weird little brown or tan bumps on the stems. And thrips, they cause this silvery streaking on the leaves. The trickiest part here is that these bugs can sometimes blend right into the plant's natural white and cream variegation. It's like camouflage. So early detection is key. If you do spot them, grab a rubbing alcohol swab or hit the plant with a spray of diluted neem oil. Now, let's talk about root rot. This is the absolute #1 killer of pothos. It is caused entirely by heavy, overwatered soil that just suffocates the plant. If you notice yellowing leaves, mushy base stems, and a foul smell, you have a severe case on your hands. This requires immediate action, okay? You must unpot the plant, trim away all the rotted, mushy roots with sterilized shears, don't skip the sterilizing, and start over completely in a fresh, dry aeroid mix. So the crucial point here is understanding what it actually means when your plant reverts. If your Manjula starts throwing out solid green leaves, it's not some cool mutation. It's a desperate survival mechanism because it just isn't getting enough light. Green vines have significantly more chlorophyll, which means they hold way more energy. If you leave them unchecked, those green vines will literally outcompete the variegated ones and take over the entire plant. You have to bravely grab your shears and prune those solid green vines away to encourage that beautiful variegation to come back. And finally, Section 5, Propagation and Display. This phase is the ultimate reward for all your fantastic care. This is where you actually get to create a legacy by styling and multiplying this beautiful piece of living art in your home. Because it grows so slowly, you're only going to need to repot every 2 to 3 years. When you do, choose a pot that is only 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter. Gently slide the plant out, loosen up the roots, and trim any rot. Position it about 1 inch below the rim and fill it in with that fresh aeroid mix we talked about. A major caution right here. Do not put it in a massive pot. A pot that's way too big holds an excess amount of moisture in the soil that the small root system just can't drink up fast enough, and that drastically increases your risk of root rot. And hey, when you do prune those vines, you can multiply your plants. To propagate in water, just cut a healthy vine about 1/4 inch below a node. You know, that little bump on the stem. Remove the bottom leaves so they don't rot in the water, and submerge just the nodes in a jar. Keep it somewhere with bright light. Now remember that low chlorophyll situation we keep talking about? Because of it, a Manjula roots much slower than your everyday golden pothos. You are going to need immense patience here. It can honestly take 2 to 4 weeks just to see the very first tiny roots start to appear. Once you have a thriving plant, it is incredibly versatile for interior decor. Picture it cascading down from a hanging basket or trailing elegantly from a high bookshelf where the sunlight kind of backlights those gorgeous watercolor leaves. It even thrives beautifully in a bright, humid bathroom. Visually, it contrasts stunningly against crisp white ceramic or natural terracotta pots. And functionally, terracotta is actually porous, so it naturally helps prevent overwatering. A total win-win. You can also train it up a moss pole, which will encourage larger leaves to grow, even though, as we learned, it's never going to fenestrate. Look, yes, the Manjula is undeniably a bit of a diva compared to your standard, run-of-the-mill pothos. It definitely demands the right light, a really chunky, breathable soil mix, and a careful, restrained hand when watering. But that mesmerizing watercolor beauty, those swirling canvases of cream, silver, and deep green, that is the ultimate payoff. So my final question to you is, do you have the patience for the Manjula challenge? And which corner of your home is going to become its stunning new canvas?